camera, now some tripods too. It's the director's cut to start listing what we watched to put thoughts on film and cassette. No cards or hard drives because it wasn't out yet. So big, get a pen or open the app that lets you tap out. The titles are yappa because the previews.
Okay, welcome to the One Hit Wonder Podcast. My name is Kelly. I'll be your host. And today we have a special guest, my mom. Hi, Mom.
Good morning.
My mom's visiting from San Diego today, and she's going to be talking to us about Mexican stuffed shells. We're going to talk about the ingredients, a little bit about the history of salsa, and then I'm going to put my mom in the hot seat, ask her a couple questions, and we're just going to see where it goes from there. Sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, so the recipe that we're talking about today is Mexican stuffed shells. And that is one of my favorite recipes. I found it on Pinterest back, I think it was like my freshman year. And it was one of the first recipes that I ever made that I felt like it was like my own. And I was able to make it with my roommates. And I really felt like it was mine because I came from home where you made all of our cooking.
Right.
And you always had dinner for us. And then I just was plopped into college and I didn't have...
Not really prepared.
Yeah.
But you did great with that recipe.
Yeah.
It's one of our favorites.
Yeah.
Even mine.
So just to talk a little bit about it, it's a combination between like a Mexican recipe and an Italian because it's those stuffed shells.
Right.
Which is usually what? It's like ricotta
it's
and stuff.
Cheese. Yeah, ricotta. The Italian cheeses and spices, but it's totally different when it's Mexican.
Yeah. So it's like tacos in these Italian shells. So it's really cool. It's a really good fusion of like cultures, kind of, you could say. Yeah.
It's like the idea of making Italian food, but it's made with the Mexican flavor.
Yeah.
And spices and sauce. It's a Mexican sauce.
Yeah.
It's delicious.
I love it. So one of the most important ingredients that I really love is fresh salsa. Mm-hmm. And I remember we talked about this because we used to use the paste salsa.
Right.
And, like, that's fine, and it works okay. Mm-hmm. But once I realized that it's La Mexicana, it's a fresh, really, just really good, it has to be refrigerated salsa, and I feel like it just makes a world of difference on it. Remember when I told you that that's the one you had to get?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. It's delicious, and the other thing about that recipe is that there's a taco sauce that goes on the top that is...
I know, that's your taco sauce.
I love it, but you gave it to me with that recipe, so I always put the two together. Huh. And it's just delicious.
Yeah. So talk about when, because you say you do, but you never get recipes from me. You always get them.
That's true.
You get them from anyone but me, even Holly. You ask anyone but me. Yeah, hurts my feelings. True. Yeah.
Sorry. That is true.
So this is the one recipe that you got from me, and just tell me how much you love it. Make me feel good.
Well, surprisingly, it's delicious. It's easy to do, and you gave it to me, so they're all surprises. But
take note, everyone.
Take note. It's amazing. The taco sauce is incredibly good.
Yeah,
and and it's not difficult to put together. Mm-hmm. It's basic ingredients that I always have in stock, and it's easy and delicious.
And it's from Kelly.
Wow, who would have thought?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So one of the things I remember I was telling Karen, my professor, and when we were talking about this recipe and like the idea behind this, I remember it's something that I remember on my own when I was in college, and it's also when like we come home from like visiting Logan and going back to San Diego, and you guys pick us up from the airport. I don't remember if you always do it, but I always remember you always have food for us, and this is one of the ones. Tacos. You always have taco stuffed shells in the fridge, and you warm them up. And they're always so good.
That's right. It's easy to warm up. That's right. I would bake them before you would get there, and then when you would get in the house, I do remember doing that a few times.
Yeah.
Your friends would be there, and I'd say, "You guys hungry?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." And so I'd say, "Well, I've got some of these," and just stick them in the microwave, warm them through, and they're delicious.
Yeah. And then we can all, it's not like stressful and you all just eat together. Because we talk about in class how like food is really like something that brings people together. That's what I always really do too. You know?
Definitely.
Like even the process of cooking it, the process of like when we all sit down and eat, or like you'll like always warm it up for us. We sit at the bar, the counter, you know, at the kitchen, and then you'll like talk to us.
Yeah.
And we'll eat, and then it's just, it's like a good conversation thing.
Well, you have to eat, so it's very practical.
Yeah.
But then it's like comfort food. It feels good, and so it's a nice, it's just a nice atmosphere to sit around and enjoy together. You gotta all eat.
Yeah.
So you sit and you enjoy, and I love making food because it's a creation process, and it's practical again. And so I really do enjoy cooking. Not everybody does, but I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Cool. So next we'll talk a little bit more about the history of salsa, and we'll go into that. And it's not the dance salsa, not like dancing
Salsa
with dancing with the Stars, Mom. So we'll talk about that. All right. All right, time to talk about some salsa. Okay, so I did a little bit of research on this. If you have any input, you let me know if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
So salsa, like we talked about, it's not the dance, but this is a sauce that can be traced back to even the people of like Aztecs, Mayans, and Incas, which is really cool. So it's been going for a long time, and I read on a couple blogs that even nowadays we make it very similar to how they used to make it, which is really cool. So it's just like there's lots of forms, you know, there's like mild, medium, hot, you've got like your salsa verde, all of those salsas. But it was originated back in about like 1519 to about 1521. So a long time ago. It's a classic base of like tomatoes, chilies, other spices. And it was first with the Spaniards when they encountered tomatoes after the Mexican conquest. Now more today, one of the first factories that made it was La Victoria Foods, and I know that I've still seen their salsa. I don't know if you use it.
Sometimes, sure. It's a easy go-to.
It's like a classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're one of the first companies that started making salsa. It was in LA, which is really cool. One of the things that I thought was interesting was, these are some facts. Besides being delicious, especially with guac, it always makes you, I feel like taco or salsa, like salsa and chips, is always what you fill up on at Mexican restaurants before you eat your food. So it like fills you up, and you don't, it's just like, it's good, but you always eat too much, you know?
Right.
It's really interesting that that's not in like classic Mexican restaurants and stuff, that's not the norm. It's kind of weird that Americans eat so much salsa, chips and salsa. They're not used to, they eat it more sparingly. So I thought that was interesting. At least for me, I like eat it by like the bucket because I love chips and salsa.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that salsa is actually the Mexican, and don't quote me on this, I Googled it and asked some people, that salsa translate to sauce in Spanish. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
No, but I believe that because it's Mexican, it's fresh. For the most part, it's fresh. But in Italian food, they've cooked it and it's totally different.
Yeah.
So they use tomatoes also, but a total different way.
Yeah.
So that's very interesting. I never thought of that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Other cool thing, the month of May is salsa month. I didn't know that. And then, if you had to guess, don't look at my notes. So chips and salsa's official state snack in 2003, this state made it a snack. What state do you think it is, if you had to guess? In the United States, of course.
California?
Close.
New Mexico?
No. So it's Texas. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so And then I thought this was a cool quote because I totally agree with it. It's from mentalfloss.com, and it says, without salsa, a tortilla chip is just a tortilla chip, and a taco isn't a taco.
So true.
So true, right?
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So talking about like how much we eat salsa all the time, I thought it was interesting. We were talking about this earlier about my little nephew. Gosh, I love him.
Oh, yeah.
We went to Costa Vida the other day, and he like drinks salsa.
He does.
Yeah.
He eats it all
Yeah.
on the chip. He's only 2.5, but he has very good dexterity, and he eats it on the chip perfectly.
Yeah.
And then when he gets to the very bottom, there's all this juice in the bottom from the fresh tomatoes, and he will drink it.
Yes. Yes. And so it's funny, you weren't here, but when we have Sunday dinners over at Aunt Julie's, I call him my little salsa boy because he spills it, of course, because he's 2.
Right.
Even though he's very good at feeding himself, he does spill it. And I call him my little salsa boy. Because he's
salsa.
And he smells like salsa to the point where
Mhm.
Dusty tells him he stinks. Oh, he will. He'll say, "You stink."
He loves it. He loves just the fresh with onion, and he gets little pieces of cilantro stuck on his skin, and
But it's good for you.
it is.
It's a good way to get your, like, it's vegetables, right?
It's
'Cause
vegetables,
tomatoes.
yeah, and it's fresh, and
Yeah.
it's healthy. It's low cal, I'm sure.
Cool.
So, personally, I love roasted salsa. There's different types of salsa.
From Rubio's.
Love roasted. Actually, other Mexican food places have good roasted
Oh,
salsa.
like Lolitas.
Oh, Lolitas. Don't get me started.
We love Lolitas. That we'll do a little plug for Lolitas if you're ever in
Yes.
San Diego. Lolitas.
That's the thing about San Diego. So we're so close to the border. We get a lot of, I don't know what it is, if it's just the people that come across that just bring their good techniques and good recipes, but we have the best taco shops.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm able to talk with a lot of people with what I do for work, and I always ask them, especially college kids, when they come home from college, I'll always say, "Hey, what do you miss the most from San Diego besides our wonderful beaches?"
And your family.
Oh, and your family, of course. I'd say, what do you miss? Like, where's your go-to place? And they'll always say, "Oh, my favorite taco shop." And sometimes, if it's nearby, I'll go and visit it because it's always a good referral. So, but that is true. I've heard that so many times, that the best, just simple Mexican food like tacos and just your simple stuff, that San Diego is the best locale for that. It really is.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time.
Yeah. When I came up here and ate at what everyone would know that's listening, Beto's.
Yeah.
Beto's is the local place here.
Mhm.
I apologize if I'm offending everyone. I hate it. It is. I think it's because I'm spoiled with our Mexican food.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah. All right. Well, in a second, we'll talk a little bit more about where my mom works, and we'll put her on the hot seat and ask her a couple questions. All right, we're back. I'm Kelly, and we're here with my mom.
Hello.
And we're going to put her on the hot seat. So we talked about my mom. She works as a dental hygienist, down in San Diego. So I've heard it before, but we're going to leave you with some gold nuggets of knowledge on teeth care.
Oh, good.
So we were talking about salsa and how good it tastes and stuff, but tell us about the effects. Like, what does salsa do, like, to your teeth and stuff like that? I remember you were saying something earlier about that.
Yes. So the latest thing in dentistry, one of the latest things in dentistry, is the acidity of foods. And if you watch any TV, you'll see a lot of advertising of toothpaste to help save your enamel. Pro Enamel, that's a big one that's out right now. So it's really legit. It's not made up for PR to sell their product. We're finding out that there's a lot of foods that we consume that are highly acidic. And unfortunately, acid is what you think it is. Acid. It can burn through things, and it can dissolve the surface of our enamel when it's in our mouth. So our mouth is in always a unbalanced state. So when we eat food, especially acidic food,
Like salsa?
like salsa.
Okay.
It really puts a lot of acid environment in the mouth. And so the wonderful thing about our saliva in nature is that the saliva after 20 to 30 minutes will neutralize that acid. But if you're constantly putting things in your mouth that are acidic or cause that acid environment to happen, you're going to have problems with not only decay, but also just the thinning of your enamel. So in dentistry, we are taking note of that when we check our patients, and we are always recommending lots of fluoride to counteract that. So that's probably the best thing, is to be aware of acidity of stuff and eat it at one sitting. Don't consume it for hours throughout the day. That would be the safest thing for your teeth. And I love talking about teeth. So
I know.
Don't get me started.
We got a time limit.
Okay.
Karen gave us a limit.
Okay.
I could eat salsa all day. I love salsa.
I do too.
So, mango salsa.
salsa.
Yep. That's what I forgot. I love mango salsa. And this might be gross. Cover your ears. But I got really bad food poisoning from mango salsa, the La Mexicana. It can't sit in your fridge for longer than like 2 weeks. But I love it so much that I ate it anyways. Oh my gosh. The worst food poisoning. But ask me if I still eat it.
Oh my gosh.
I still eat it.
eat it?
I still eat it.
I know. We love it.
It's good. So mango salsa from La Mexicana is good. You know what else is really good? This is kind of out there, chocolate frosting. I love chocolate frosting. And
do.
like you can make salsa at home, but there's the option to buy it. I always buy my salsa at the store, but with my frosting, I never buy chocolate frosting at the store because I'm tainted from you.
I know.
So my next question is talking about frosting. What's your opinion on buying frosting from the store or frosting from home, making it? Because I love our homemade frosting.
Right. So I remember the first time that I made frosting was when I was little, cooking with my mom. And she never had a recipe. I'd say, how do I do it? And she'd say, okay, use this, use that. And we never measured anything. So I still don't know the measurements of things.
Yeah, because you do the same thing. You did the same thing to me.
I know. I'm so sorry. But it usually comes out good. The thing is, when I make a really good batch, which I do, I don't know what the difference is between that batch and maybe the next batch that isn't so great. But it's still, personally, I love the flavor of homemade frosting. And it's so quick and easy that I think to go to the store, walk down the aisle, pick up that can is not, I would spend more time doing it. So I think it's so much smarter for me to do the homemade frosting at home.
Yeah.
And now I've learned little tricks about adding a little salt to it. Did I tell you that?
Yeah, I do that.
Add a little salt to it. Always vanilla, no matter if it's vanilla or chocolate. Now I combine
dark chocolate powder
yes,
and the cocoa.
We make a lot of chocolate frosting.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, make sure that the butter and the milk is warm.
Yeah.
Don't ever melt butter. I just found that out recently. Don't have the butter
just for the
melted.
frosting, because sometimes melted butter tastes good and stuff, like cookies. Like
that's
browned butter is good, but
Very
frosting not so much.
Not so much.
Yeah.
But I always warm the milk.
Oh,
so
that's great. I love homemade frosting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, Mom. That was fun.
Thank you. It was really fun to do.
Cool. Maybe our next podcast will be about frosting.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Have a good one.
For the feature presentation, Shakes the Clown and Putney Swope, Clifford, Billy Madison, Uncle Buck, 2010, 2001, Blade Runner, Polyester, Forbidden Zone and Pink Flamingos, Star Trek, Star Wars, the Transformers, both Ghostbusters and Back to the Future, Parts 1 to 3, you and Tiffany T, the day the Earth stood still, and Mac and me, Goonies, Raiders, Terminators, Run, Ronnie, Run, Brain Candy, the one, Total Recall, RoboCop, Karate Kid, Going Berserk, Delirious, and the Jerk, Akira, Metropolis, Do the Right Thing, Big Ferris Bueller, House Party, Rushmore, both Short Circuits, and the Man with Two Brains. Dude, there's too many to fit in this frame.
Film teaching me a lesson as it flips by 24 frames a second. One of the biggest things that ever made an impact.